Jean-Jacques Rousseau's concept and its role in Frankenstein. Hello everyone, my name is Kyla McLaurin, and today I will be presenting on the connection between the ideas of philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau, specifically his concept of the noble savage and how they appear in Mary Shelley's novel Frankenstein. Rousseau believed that people are born pure and good and that society is what corrupts them. In Frankenstein, Shelley takes that idea and shows how it plays out through the journey of the creature, who begins as an innocent being but is transformed by the harshness of the world around him. This presentation will explore how Rousseau's philosophy shapes our understanding of the novel and the moral complexity of the so-called monster. The noble savage. The idea of the noble savage is a literary and philosophical concept that suggests humans are born with natural goodness and live most harmoniously in a primitive or uncorrupted state. This figure often appears in stories as someone who lives outside of mainstream society, perhaps in nature or in isolation, but shows deep kindness, empathy, or wisdom in contrast to the cruelty found in civilization. Writers use this figure to critique society and suggest that we often think as civilized might actually be the root of injustice, inequality, and suffering. In Frankenstein, the creature fits this mold perfectly. He acts out of kind and eager to connect, but is only met with cruelty and fear. Rousseau's view of human nature. Rousseau famously said, "Man is born free and everywhere he is in chains." This quote reflects his belief that humans are born pure, but the rules and structures of society restrain and distort that purity. He argued that in a state of nature, before laws, property, and institutions, people were free, equal, and good. But with the development of civilization came inequality, greed, competition, and corruption. So Rousseau's idea isn't that people are perfect, but that our natural instincts are more generous and cooperative than what society brings out of us. This viewpoint stands in contrast to other philosophers like Thomas Hobbes, who believe people are naturally selfish and aggressive. Rousseau's perspective is much more hopeful and compassionate. The creature as a noble savage. When we first meet the creature in Frankenstein, he's not a monster, he's a blank slate. He's confused, curious, and deeply aware of his surroundings. He wants to learn, to understand the world, and to be loved. One of the most moving parts of the novel is when he observes the Lacey family from a distance. He teaches himself language, appreciates music, and even secretly helps them by gathering firewood and doing small chores. He feels love for them and hopes that if he reveals himself gently, they might accept him. But when he finally approaches them, their reaction is one of terror. They reject him without even trying to understand him. This is a turning point. Up until this moment, the creature has shown nothing but empathy and compassion. But repeated experiences like this, from his creator's abandonment to being chased away by strangers, teach him a harsh truth, that people will judge him based on how he looks, not who he is. This experience turns his longing for love into bitterness. He transforms from a noble savage into the very thing society claims him to be, a monster. Corruption by society. The tragedy of the creature is not that he was made from different body parts, it's that he was denied a chance to be human. His only crime at first is existing in a form that others fear. Victor Frankenstein, his creator, abandons him at birth, horrified by his appearance. Every person the creature encounters treats him as dangerous without ever giving him a chance. What this shows is that society is the real corrupting force. The creature begins with love in his heart, but society teaches him hatred. His violent acts later in the story are not random. They're acts of revenge, expressions of pain from someone who has never given kindness. This idea is central to Rousseau's philosophy. Civilization is supposed to improve us, but in this case it fails. It destroys the creature's spirit rather than nurturing it. In comparing Rousseau's theory to Shelley's novel, we see a clear parallel. Rousseau believed that civilization teaches people to hide their true selves, to compete with one another, and to judge others based on artificial standards. Shelley seems to agree. In Frankenstein, it's not the creature's nature that causes his downfall, it's the way people treat him. This leads us to the powerful question, who is the real monster? The being who was created or the people who rejected him. Shelley invites us to consider whether evil is something we're born with or something that society creates. Rousseau argued the latter, and the story supports that argument. The real horror in Frankenstein isn't the creature, it's human cruelty and prejudice. This imagined diary entry gives us insight into the creature's emotions. He says, "I was just born and was made a suspect before I ever had proved guilty." That line captures the injustice at the heart of his story. He was never given a chance. His instinct to love the DeLacy family shows his natural goodness, but that instinct was crushed the moment they looked at him with fear. He asks, "Could I not be like them, loving and loved in return?" This line is especially heartbreaking because it reveals the hope he once had. But that hope is gone now, replaced with pain and rage. This entry reflects Rousseau's belief that people are born innocent and are shaped by their experiences. The creature wasn't born a monster. He became one because that's how the world treated him. In conclusion, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is more than a horror story. It's a powerful exploration of human nature. Through the creature, Shelley illustrates Rousseau's idea of the noble savage, someone born with natural goodness, who is ultimately corrupted by society. The novel shows how rejection, isolation, and prejudice can turn innocence into violence. It forces us to confront our own assumptions about what makes someone a monster. Rousseau's theory remains relevant today. In our world where people are often judged by how they look, where they're from, or how different they seem, it's important to remember that no one is born wicked. We are shaped by the world we live in, by how we're treated, and by whether we are accepted or cast out. Frankenstein reminds us of the power of kindness and the terrible cost of denying it.